My first answer in this interview, I live life the way I want to, and I make any film the way I want to make it.
So what version is the most correct?
So if you praise me beyond what I think, my capacity, I think you're an idiot. When I don't care about your morning being good, you don't care about my morning being good, and just our wishes are not going to make our mornings better any which way. So that needless expenditure of energy and time is what I don't want to expend in my life.
Now the story of Veerappan has been pretty popular since the 90s.
We'll make a film called Let's Catch Veerappan. And we worked on the script, and the first day we shot, and I got a message that Veerappan has been killed just now.
What do you find so fascinating about him?
Without political backing, without any backing, a man for 20 years and odd, he can create such terror.
Sandeep Bharadwaj, I think, is find of the year, maybe,
If casting of Veerappan doesn't work, I think the whole film will flap. I want to have sex with you. Just tell me yes or no. Okay, your place or my place. So if you want to discuss it, fuck it. If I put an agarbatti and that, you see, that bastard put agarbatti. That's because my agarbatti look different.
What's with porn?
Instead of going and indulging in real life violence, you might as well go and watch an action film and come back satisfied. That's what cinema does actually, To that extent, porn for me is fulfilling that aspect of the fantasy. I talked about the fans and with regard to Chiranjeevi. I say, see, Chiranjeevi is elephant. I am a dog. I am barking. See, obviously Pawan Kalyan's fans' IQ level will be, I don't even know where it will be. I use Rajamouli for two reasons. One is I really admire that guy and I compliment. Okay. And I'm using his shoulder to fire upon a lot of people. I'll be very happy to go to jail because I didn't take holiday for a very long time, And I'm running out of scripts, like you all know. So I will get some good scripts in jail because I'm very much interested in meeting. I heard there are a couple of ISI guys in Mushirabad jail. And like Mr. Mohan Babu has this habit of constantly feeding you. Sir, గేదెలు మేకలు ఎప్పుడు తింటాయండి సింహం ఒకేసారి తింటున్నది. You look at all the audio functions, they have the chant called power star, power star, power star. I don't think they're capable of talking. Why are you laughing? I'm just you are making fun of them, Hemant, not me. Yes. Now if you have the guts, I want you to not edit this and put this.
I hope
who the fuck wants your hope? Oh, vicious. I really enjoyed this interview. Sincerely. Yeah.
RGV sir, thank you so much for joining us. It's a great pleasure to have you on the show. Before coming to this interview, I was trying to come up with a questionnaire, and then I realized that I don't know what I can ask you because you pretty much said everything. But I was going through the quotes by one of your favorite philosophers, Friedrich Nietzsche, and it occurred to me that you're like a living specimen of each of those quotes put together in one person. Would you agree to that?
I mean, I wouldn't know what specific quotes you're talking about, but I would think it's a truth for the simple reason that we are born with a blank mind, and whatever persona or personality you kind of eventually become is a sum total of the belief systems you gather across the time, of which I would think Friedrich Nietzsche will be only one. I mean, there will be plenty other thinkers, both known and unknown, but yes, Nietzsche has definitely been a great influence on me.
Right. There's one particular quote where it says, "You have your way, I have my own way." There's no one particular true way.
There's no way as such. Yeah, correct.
Right. So, and that's pretty much been your philosophy in life as well. Like, a lot of people have tried to understand you, but then they've failed miserably. Everybody has their own vision of who RGV is and what he does. So, given that there is such varied perspectives from people about you, is there anything which you think about yourself as a person?
See, to start with, I believe the very fact that what you're living, I think it's about what follows is that how you want to live.
Right.
And if you are living the way you want to, that's the only thing which can be defined as life, in my opinion. It's not living as per others' expectations. Could be family or society or anybody for that matter. The fact I don't compromise and I live my life very intensely exactly to my taste and my sensibility or what pleasure I want from it. So I would think pretty much that's what for me the definition of the meaning of life.
Right. Have you ever reached a point where you began to think, why is it that people have such different opinions about me? And did you ever want to set the record
just
straight?
To answer the question, see, the point is anything which is going in a certain line, in a expected format, there's nothing to think about. Okay? So people generally do that. For example, everyone says when you get up, when in the morning when you sit, you say good morning. So people are saying good morning to each other. There's nothing to think about it. The moment I say don't ever wish me good morning, and then I see the logic, because we have to say good morning. You say good morning, I have to say good morning. And how's everything is fine. So when I don't care about your morning being good, you don't care about my morning being good, and just our wishes are not going to make our mornings better any which way. So that needless expenditure of energy and time is what I don't want to expend in my life. Okay. So don't wish me ever. I will say that. So somebody will look at the logic. Somebody look at why the fuck is he making such a big issue about a simple wish like good morning, and somebody else will think something. So anything which goes out of the way or out of an established pattern of how people live is bound to have disagreements and various viewpoints to it. So that is something I have to live with. As long as I decide to live life in my way or the way I want to, I am expected to have different people thinking different, from mad to genius to stupid to whatever they think it is.
So what version is the most correct according to you?
I'm just myself, and like Nietzsche said, there are no facts, only interpretations.
Right.
I live, I'm enjoying every minute of my life, and what I am doing, what I'm saying, its validity and effect, I think it depends upon the person who's perceiving and not on me.
Right.
Like for example, when you ask me how do I react to criticism, for example, okay. See, I'm very, very clear about what I am as a person. So if you praise me beyond what I think, my capacity, I think you're an idiot.
Okay.
And if you criticize me under my capacity, also I think you're an idiot, because only I can know what my worth is.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've never taken that seriously ever?
No. I take such criticism seriously where they give me a viewpoint of which I haven't thought of.
Okay.
Then that becomes an addition for me, like a Nietzsche's line or the Ayn Rand thought. Or the guy says something about my film or my thought, something which didn't occur to me, to the way to look at that. That I take it very seriously.
Okay.
But somebody praising me or running me down doesn't make a difference to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about that, I don't know if this analogy holds true, but I think there are very close similarities between you and Darth Vader from Star Wars.
Really? First of all, I'm not a fan of Star Wars series.
You've seen the films, right? Obviously.
I did, but I'm not really that. I'm not a fan. I've never seen it. I read Darth Vader. In fact, I think my daughter told me that.
That you have a lot of similarities with Darth Vader.
But,
okay, why I came up with the analogy was you started off really well with 26 years back. Everybody knows the story, and you're almost like a Jedi. People looked up to you as this big messiah and all. But then slowly something happened to you, and I don't know how to put it, but films which probably people didn't even expect that you would make. For example, this last few years have not been really the kind of RGB that we know. And right now, what we see is like you've completely gone to a different zone altogether, where people are in a big doubt, whether to watch your
lost it or
right. So you've almost like walked into the dark side of life. So that's why you're the Darth Vader of Indian cinema. Would you agree to that?
See, but I think I answered this question many number of times, and I kind of find it tiring. But anyway, since it's coming in the context, like my first answer in this interview, I live life the way I want to, and I make any film the way I want to make it. The judgment of the film happens from the person who's watching it. So my state of mind when I took a decision to make the film will not match or might not match the state of mind of a viewer, whether he wants to see that film or whether he likes it or not.
Right.
So I enjoy an ice cream, for example, as much as a Shiva. Okay.
You don't
but I can understand that people don't see the connection and they think I've gone mad, because Shiva is a subject matter.
Okay.
There's a story, there's characters, there's certain relatability to what's happening. Whereas ice cream for me is just to take the state of mind of a girl who's alone in a house and imagining things. That for me is as exciting as a director, because in fact to make ice cream is actually more difficult than to make Shiva, because it has no subject matter at all.
Okay.
So in some zone like that, zone, by saying zone, I don't mean it in a negative way. I would like to experience that also. So I make a decision, and always I did that. Even my first film, it's a hit, it's another matter.
Right.
But it was a decision as dangerous as ice cream for that time period, because in 1989 nobody will think a movie like Shiva will work.
True.
Yeah.
Right. So I've seen a lot of your earlier interviews where you're always talking about the point of view of that character, and the thought process why they are compelled to do what they do. So when you break down a character to that microscopic level, so do you take the emotion out of it, or do you discover something new about
In fact,
that person?
actually, when I break down a character, I'm finding the emotion. I don't find the reason. I don't really care about the necessity or the compulsion. I actually find the emotion of a character. Because if any character which does not have an emotional base doesn't exist at all. That's the reason most of the time I don't get into details of the background and what a person does or not.
Okay.
I'm just interested in the emotion actually.
Why does that become immaterial to the whole story, the backstory? Because for a lot of films that probably defines who they are.
That's what they see. For example, I'll give like Rashid character in Sarkar, when he comes in the car to warn Amitabh Bachchan about something. When the actor, I first met him for the casting, he asked me about the background. I said, he doesn't have background. I don't want to know the background, because when a character is like, when I meet a person, the way he gets up, the way he will say hello, the way he will greet me is which defines him for me as a person. Right. Because I met him suddenly. I don't know his background. So in a film, a character comes suddenly. The background discussion happens inside the script room, inside the office, not on the screen. So when the gate opens, his car comes and stops, I need to feel an impact of the character. So I don't want to know, because the background can actually counter affect the whole thing, because then it is a trap. The actor will start behaving as per the background, which the audience never know. Right. And the director also starts designing it in the same way. Whereas now when Rashid comes, he takes his own time to walk, and he sits there and having a cool coffee with a blank face, absolutely you don't know what he's thinking. It's creating an effect because you don't know his background. So that is how I look at it. But the emotion there is because the way he talks is sitting in front of Amitabh Bachchan is sending out a signal of incredible confidence that it doesn't take him as a threat for some reason. So that body language reflects that. Yeah.
Is it all by design, or do you come up with this design?
This is all by design. This is all by design, because see, what I do, I don't really, I'm into a script. Interesting point is, I actually started working on full scripts only since the last 4 years. My biggest flops happened only since then. I never used to have scripts in Shanakshanam time or Shiva time or Satya time. Okay.
So it was all on the set.
I always am clear about characters. Okay. I know what kind of people I'm dealing with. That is when a film happens. So it's my study of people in real life which translates into cinema. So I really don't consider myself a filmmaker in that extent. I make films also, but my primary interest is to study and analyze characters and incidents.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about that, your latest film, Killing Veerappan, deals with one such dacoit. Yeah. Now, I've seen the film, to be honest, and what I find really interesting is you're not judgmental about that character at all. You're not really portraying him as a good guy or a bad guy. It is what it is, right? So, was that the intention when you started out?
See, I always have this, even if you look at a movie like Satya, for example, there is always a certain, the emotions of each character, I treat them as real. I don't look at them as bad and good. Each person is caught in a situation and then he rises up to it. See, for example, I find Shivraj Kumar much more dangerous than Veerappan. The reason being, any criminal comes from an emotional state, whereas a cop, by definition, by his duty, has to be cold-blooded because he is dealing with a problem. Okay, so he cannot have an emotion which is defined as what a criminal will have. So almost by the end of it, you probably feel more empathy for Veerappan because always the audience or anybody will react to an underdog much more than so even if it's a man-eating tiger, if a dangerous-looking tiger, if it's in a cage and you know that it's going to be shot after 1 hour, you actually start feeling very sorry for it. That's exactly what happens in the climax of Veerappan. Yeah.
So now the story.
So coming to that, so now if you look at it, when I start gathering research material about Veerappan, if I'm talking to Muthulakshmi, I will hear one version. If I talk to some ex-gang member, he will tell something else. Some cop will tell me something else altogether. Likewise, every human being, no matter how many people he has, you will only hear different versions of him, directly depending on their experiences. So you have to get to the core of it and finally find the person. Okay. So if somebody asks me, is Veerappan really like this? I don't know. But what I gathered from my sources and what I could understand in a certain consistency is this.
Okay. Right.
See, one guy told me that he's actually the most courageous guy, fearless. And one guy said he's a big darpuk.
Okay.
Now this is the extreme opposite view of the same man, and both of them worked with Veerappan. Right. It is not like one guy is saying hearsay. Right. They both had a considerable interaction and worked with him, but this guy chose to look at him like that. Okay. So that is also a comment on their own individual IQ's level. They are also their own experiences. Yeah.
Now the story of Veerappan has been pretty popular since the 90s. And you started off filmmaking around the same time, right? But from what I understand, you first met Muthulakshmi sometime around 2007, 2008, right?
Correct.
So at what point did you want to bring alive this character?
See, I'll tell you, first time I heard about Veerappan's name was when I was shooting Shanakshanam. That's, I think, roughly 92.
Okay.
When the Mudumalai forest I was shooting, right. That's when I heard his name.
Oh, you were shooting in Mudumalai?
I was shooting, in the forest where you operated.
Right.
So there I saw some boards in the forest, caution, Veerappan area.
Oh, okay.
Actually, there used to be boards, So there one local cop told me about him. That's the first time I heard.
Okay.
Then nearly 10 years or 8 years later, I went to shoot Jungle again in the same area. Veerappan was still there.
Okay.
So that is when the fact that 10 years is still there, nothing seems to be changed, is when I made friends with some task force guys who had camps in that area. And they started telling me a lot of detail about what exactly the phenomenon of Veerappan was. Okay. Then at a time I thought I'll make, I heard so many things from them, then I happened to catch some books, read them, and then hearing from reporters who covered Veerappan extensively. Then I thought of this idea. In 95, there was 3 people who tried to get the prize money to catch Veerappan, 3 simple villagers. Okay. So I spoke to Shimit at that time, said we'll make a film called Let's Catch Veerappan, And we worked on the script, and the first day we shot, in the night me and Shimit were having a drink in a restaurant in Bombay, and I got a message that Veerappan has been killed just now.
Oh.
Yeah. So on the day of the shoot of Let's Catch Veerappan, Veerappan was killed. October 18th,
2004.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, Shimit, if Veerappan is dead, how can you make a film called Let's Catch Veerappan? It doesn't make sense. So we kind of left the project,
Right.
Then at one point of time, I seriously thought of making a biopic of what caused Veerappan. How did Veerappan happen, this and that, a biopic. Right. But I thought there is too much of it has been written about him and sources and X and Y and Z. That also I kind of left. Then finally, I happened to meet this Sentamarai Kannan, who was heading the intelligence wing of the task force at the time. And when I spoke to him and people who worked with him, and one thing I realized, nobody knows why Veerappan came out of the forest.
See, even the intelligence guy? They don't know. Oh, they know. Yeah.
See, no, the point is, what is reported in the media, he came for a cataract operation.
Yeah.
He was trying to meet somebody, and X and Y. No one knows the details.
Okay.
The detail is what I showed in Veerappan.
Okay.
Now.
Right.
Okay. So the fact, the operational detail of Cocoon, nobody knows.
True.
Everybody says it's intelligence operation. What is intelligence operation?
Right.
It is a conmanship. They conned Veerappan to believe something and got him out of the forest.
Right.
Okay. I thought this will be the interesting point to make a film on, instead of telling the same thing, to see it from the perspective of one officer and what is special about him, where everybody failed, he succeeded by just changing the strategy of, instead of hunting for him inside the forest, he tried to get him out of the forest.
Right.
So, on first thought it sounds ridiculous, but that is a strategy which is very different.
Right.
Your whole thinking pattern changes because of that. Yeah.
So this was back in 2005, soon after he died?
No. I actually met him now.
Oh, the intelligence guy.
Yeah.
But you still met Muthulakshmi with the idea of making
by the time I met Muthulakshmi, that was another part. I wanted to make a love story and I only wanted to shoot Veerappan from Muthulakshmi's point of view.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's why she agreed to
let
you do the film. Right.
Correct.
Right.
So that actually had, of course, a stay with Veerappan, and then she being arrested, she being tortured, and her life to deal with the kids, with the backdrop of having someone as notorious as Veerappan, a woman's point of view. That is the reason I met her at that time.
Okay, right. So now, talking about Veerappan's character as such,
Yeah.
Apart from him being a very dreaded dacoit and sandalwood and ivory smuggler, so what else do you find so fascinating about him?
See, for me, the most fascinating thing about Veerappan is that without having a background of an ideological organization like an LTT or a terrorist organization, he's actually a plain criminal. Absolutely, he has nothing. All these conspiracy theories that has been backed by politicians, all that is nonsense. For the simple reason, see, the underworld can be mixed up with politics and business people because they're a part of the civil city, like real estate and buildings and all that. One, nobody will want to be associated with a known criminal because you can be into the dragnet at some time. Second point is the vote bank cannot be that big in the area where Veerappan lives. It hardly matters.
Right.
So when you don't have votes or money to gain, why would you want to be associated with Veerappan?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. Right? So without political backing, without any backing, a man for 20 years and odd, he can create such terror where 1200 task force people are on a permanent duty in the whole belt of Satyamangalam, Wayanad and Mudumalai, Bandipur forests. Okay? And you are having local police, special task force, BSF and Reserve Police. All these guys are doing nothing but trying to catch Veerappan and evading the net for such a long time. I don't think an instance like that happened in the world. Something like that. Okay? And he just had a gut level cunning more than anything else. It's not like a great thinking strategy. Okay? In fact, one officer told me that for a long time the mistake we made is we thought of him like a very intelligent guy, and then we realized he's a kid actually. And you can't think intelligently for a kid, because a kid by his definition be unpredictable.
Right.
He'll
just do whatever
he wants to. Whatever he wants to do. Now, how are you going to predict? Yes, this plan. You want to do this, after this. Then you can have a plan. Right. But if you don't know what he's thinking, then you can't.
Right. Now, talking about the script, did you write a script for this or did you just shoot?
You see, I actually, to be very honest, when I met this man who was a part of the operation, what he narrated to me in one sitting from around 5 o'clock in the evening to 12 o'clock in the night, I kept on making notes of the narration and I made the film exactly that.
Oh, okay.
It's so almost made in the linear order actually.
It's more from his point of view, whatever he saw.
In a sense, his point of view, but again, since there are so many characters, I have to check that later into the content detailing wise. But the operation detail more or less is his.
Is there any big part of that narration which you sort of left out of the film because it didn't really fit into?
Of course. See, because the point is when you're making, first of all, Operation Cocoon was a name given after the fact. It was never an operation because that's the reason for that. Multiple teams were working. It's not only this man.
Oh, okay.
Because this succeeded, he came into the limelight.
Right.
That's the point. Right. Multiple teams are working without each other's knowledge on different strategies. Okay. So now here the point is, this something happened over a year, I think.
Right.
year to 14 months, this whole thing of what I am showing here. So obviously in the course of this, these people going and spending time, some Muslim guys with Veerappan, they spent there for 20 days, but probably I might have showed it in maybe 2 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. So for cinematic purposes, to condense time and everything, you need to do that, in which you will obviously omit quite a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, convincing Shivraj Kumar, was that an easy task, tough task? How was it?
See, first time, I wanted to make this in a language which it happened, first to start with. So when I first spoke to him on the phone, I said, this is my idea. I said, so why do you want to make a film on Veerappan? Because a lot of films have come and everyone knows the story. I said, I'm not making a story on Veerappan, I'm making a story from a cop's perspective. Then I went and told him, and he was shocked. He said, I didn't know 80% of this. Now, there's an interesting thing. One is, he's a man from Karnataka, and his father's been kidnapped, and he has a first-hand knowledge of all the top officials who was involved in the Veerappan operations. And if he doesn't know 80% of what some guy from Hyderabad came and told him, it's ridiculous, one way if you look at it.
Yeah.
Another shocking thing is he did not disbelieve what I said. See, that is the important question.
Right.
You are not saying, no, this is not how it happened, which means it is sounding believable.
Right.
So when somebody asks me this question, is it real? I say, see, one is, if it's something which happened such a long time back, there will be multiple persons having multiple perspectives on it, point one. Point two is, you're going to, and there will be different versions, okay? And I'm gathering that I am saying it is this.
Okay.
This is why I'm putting the disclaimer, this is the truth as I know it.
Okay.
Now if someone has to counter this, he has to tell a more convincing, so the onus is on him, not on me. I am saying this is how it happened. Okay. If you can't say it didn't happen like this, then you say how it happened.
Right.
Which means you have to write another story now.
Right.
Yeah.
So what, he just found it very convincing and he just came on board? Did that?
Yeah, he was very excited.
Right.
Mainly he was excited, I think, about, he didn't know the operation details, one, and second, excited about the character.
Mm-hmm. There's one very interesting dialogue towards the end of the film where he says that you have to
takes a monster to kill a monster. Yeah.
Right. So what was it? Was that how the whole character was written?
Yeah. See, more or less, he's playing exactly how Kannan is in real life. Okay. Kannan, in fact, that whole characterization is not created by me, it is what he himself is. Okay, so you have to take extreme decisions in extreme situations, which might not be right legally, X and Y and Z, whatever. Even the inclusion of Shia's character was an existing character, because you have to take the help of people who you won't suspect to belong to the police. And the last thing Muthulakshmi would think that this girl actually is a plant by the police, So all these unconventional aspects were done because of the immense failure they were facing for such a long time, and finally this is a strategy which worked.
Right. Talking about that Shivraj Kumar's character, he doesn't have a moral compass as such. Like he'll just do whatever it takes to.
You see, it is a scene in which, because you won't understand Kannada, he says a line. He says, "There's no such thing as the right way. As long as you reach a destination, even the wrong way is the right way. The point is to reach the goal." Okay? So then, what you think is right, if it is not helping you out, which failed so many times, you might as well do something wrong, still if you reach the right destination. Now, that is for me the whole point. That is again, if you look at it, it connects to the last line. So if you have to, like there's an initial line where it says if you take care with chasing monsters, because it might turn you into a monster,
I was talking to Parul Yadav about her role, and she was saying that she cannot reveal the name of the original person on whom the character is based on. So are you also bound by that thing?
Yeah.
I
cannot reveal only for the purposes, because on a legal aspect, and then I see, even she was like a secret in the police also. Even
nobody
the police
knew about
department
it.
is not supposed to know about her. So I can't take that liberty and talk about her freely, not knowing the detailing of what kind of complexities can come out of that.
Right. The film has been shot in some really amazing locations, like very isolated places,
Yeah.
deep in the jungle. So, was it all like very close to where it all happened, or did you go somewhere else?
See, there are some places which are where it happened, and some places because right now most of the areas which Veerappan operated are reserve forests. You know, you can't do many stuff in that kind of place, like gunshots, explosions, stuff like that.
It's all banned.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Right.
But the regions are very similar to that kind of forest where you operated. So bulk of the forest portions we shot in Yellapura.
Okay.
It's in North Karnataka. The opening sequence when Rockline Venkatesh gets killed. You know,
Right.
so I always think of location should be as memorable as a character.
Right.
Like with that particular road, you know, the tree which is fallen down and is one tree, I kept on repeating the shot, you know. So almost the location becomes like another character,
Right.
you know.
Now you're talking about coffee.
Yeah.
What's with your obsession with coffee? Because almost every character in a lot of your films has poses with a cup of coffee.
I think it's somewhere my alter ego because I have a lot of coffee and I think subconsciously I keep on making everyone like me. Because if you see my interviews, in every interview I'm having coffee. You know? And actually, the strange thing, I don't have much coffee. I look like I'm a heavy coffee drinker. I take a couple of sips and I keep it off. I just like to hold the coffee cup more than actually drinking.
There's also one shot where he's holding that coffee in front of his face, you know. I mean, it seems brutal in a way.
I always feel something with a very normal thing, if a character does something which is unusual, it sticks out.
Right.
He's just using the coffee cup to warm his eye, you know, something like that, you know.
Right.
But it becomes a memorable image because of that.
It was also in the poster, right? So it was quite a powerful imagery there.
Yeah.
So now you've had the privilege to work with some of the biggest names in the industry over the years, right? Now in Kannada, it's Shivraj Kumar. So when he came on the sets to act out that role, did he surprise you in any manner?
I think primarily for all his image and his long experience, because of the films he has seen of me, like Rakta Charitra and Satya, I think he's already in kind of little awe of me. Okay.
Who isn't?
So I think, and also see, the question is about any actor, I feel, it depends completely on the director's clarity. So I can have the same clarity in explaining Amitabh Bachchan in Sarkar and also Aag. That doesn't mean, my clarity does not mean it's good. But still I'm clear. So I'm able to convince a person, even if it's a bad film, that it's a good film. That's the reason the films happen, any which way.
Right.
You know. And all of them, a lot of people say, even though you gave flops to Amitabh Bachchan, how come he still likes you? It's because Amitabh Bachchan knows that it is not for my lack of my concentration, not my lack of effort. He knows my intention of what I tried to do and what I failed. There is a reason he will never lose his belief in me because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about discovering new actors, Sandeep Bharadwaj, I think is find of the year, maybe, you know. In a very long time. I've never seen anybody who looked.
See, I would say I was really lucky to get Sandeep. There's no doubt about that. Because if casting of Veerappan doesn't work, I think the whole film falls flat. There's no doubt about it. You know. Having said that, a lot of people ask me this question: where did you find that look alike? It actually doesn't look like Veerappan. Sandeep Bharadwaj in real life has no connection to Veerappan.
Right.
This was done by Vikram Gaikwad, a makeup man from Bombay. Okay. And Sandeep is a brilliant actor, but he managed to get that gait, the way he walks, the way he looks, his eyes and everything of trying to catch a man who's lived in a jungle for such a long time. I said, I don't want a composition. You should look almost innocent. You should look cunning. You should look, there's a difference between a jungle cat and a domestic cat.
Right.
The jungle cat, because it doesn't know what's happened, is constantly prepared. So because your eyes are constantly shifting, you know, they're not like stable at any point of time.
Right.
And you're not a very intelligent guy. But you want to pose because you're aware of your popularity and all that, you want to look as if you're very intelligent.
Right.
So you're constantly measuring the other person before saying something. This is a brief I give.
Okay.
But this is still a brief, it's theory. But an actor to start feeling it is different. So when we were shooting, I actually a lot of times observed him. The moment he puts that moustache on, he becomes Veerappan. Till the pack-up time,
Right.
even though he's not in the shot, he's not shooting, I still see him walking like Veerappan with the gun.
Complete method actor.
And everybody used to keep on watching him only on set. See, Muthulakshmi for me, the interesting part in my research was she is a person who shared her life. I mean, she has children from him, and the first time she met him in real life and blah blah, whatever it is, And the most incredible thing for me, I've realized after seeing the whole film in one flow, and this is the first time ever a film ever came where the villain has a love story and the hero doesn't have.
Right.
It's a proper love story. The first time they met to his death, there is a finish to the whole thing.
Right.
So when the montage which I shot with Veerappan and his wife after
Getting married and all that.
I mean, that's like romantic duet. If you look at it, I mean, there might not be a song, but I think that for me is one of my most favorite bits in the whole film.
Right.
Yeah.
What about her is even more fascinating, because you've met her and spoken to her about a lot of things.
See, I mean, this line also is there in the film. When I asked her when he proposed, see, first time you met, how did it go? So she said, I was working in this field and I heard a sound. When I turned back, he was standing there with his gun. She got scared. She knows him by the face. So he says, don't be scared, don't crush a flower to smell it. And that's about the most romantic line I heard coming from Veerappan, basically, And he said, I don't like wasting time. I just want you to tell me immediately, I like you. You tell me you like me or not.
Okay.
So she said, I was too scared to say no, and I nodded my head. I said, where is your father? And he called my father and said, I'm taking her with me. I'll look after her better than you. If you feel like give blessing, you don't also, it's okay. And he went off. This is what he did, Veerappan. So I think that's the shortest, most beautiful love story I heard in my life. And it almost sounded like me, Like Neeraj tells me, Neeraj Vora, once he told me, see, Ramji, you're like this. You walk straight to a girl and you say, I don't like to,
Waste your time.
beat around the bush. I would say straight.
Right.
I want to have sex with you. Just tell me yes or no.
Okay.
Then she will say, okay, your place or my place. So if you want to discuss it, fuck it.
Right.
That's me. According to Neeraj, So I'm saying, the Veerappan sounded like me, to me actually. That's the reason I could catch his character. Yeah.
You seem to gravitate to characters like that, whether it's Veerappan or several other great characters that you've portrayed on screen. So, is it always like you find some of your own life elements in them, or what
I don't think so. See, I think, to start with, I'm interested in larger than life people.
All the time?
Yeah, and very individualistic people. Individualistic people, by definition, will always be rebels, which is the reason they're called individualistic.
Right.
So either you fit the pattern of society, where there's a traffic going and there's a red light, you stop, and the green light, you go, and one guy cuts the red light.
Okay.
That guy interests me.
Right.
What reasons he's doing it? It could be that he's arrogant, it could be in a hurry, or he might not care for the law. Whatever the reasons are, the guy who cuts the red light is the only guy who makes the traffic look different for me.
Right.
So which is the same thing with people. I'm following the presidential election in US first time only because of Donald Trump, because he looks different. He doesn't look politically correct, and all of them look so composed, intelligent, and very well, articulate, but they look boring because of the same reason. He's just saying things out of the blue, and he's startling me, and which is creating an excitement, which is the same thing. Like I would be interested in a Godse more than a Gandhi, for example.
Okay.
I'd be interested in Hitler.
Right.
Okay, I will never make a film on Mother Teresa. Because I'll go off to sleep in first 5 minutes, I think, So, the bad people create history. The bad people are what which run the world. World events, what I mean is, So I think I will have a general tendency towards individuals who make an impact. Yeah. To extension of this answer, and somebody said that, I said, you have to this, I am grateful to rowdies, gangsters, terrorists and dacoits because I'm making my living out of them. If they didn't exist, I would have made Kanaka Mahalakshmi Mahatyam. I think, I don't know where.
I think just for the kicks you should do that,
Kanakamalakshmi.
Yeah, why not?
They will think it's a satire. Even though I do it with utmost seriousness, they will look meanings into it which, you see, you know what they'll do? For example, if I put an agarbatti and that, you see, that bastard put agarbatti. That's because my agarbatti will look different to them. But I was seriously thinking, I announced now my next lot of pictures is Kanakamalakshmi Mahatyam and Mother Teresa.
Should make them like Kill Bill, You could do that probably. Yeah. Like RGV style, probably. No, every time some incident happens, world incident or in India, I'm automatically thinking, okay, I'm sure RGV is thinking on these lines and he's going to make his film next. So, are you constantly in search of news like that all the time?
Yeah, I definitely see. I actually, I surf a lot on the internet on topics which are happening. Of course, all my topics should be related somewhere to. I check on ISIS, I check on Donald Trump, I check on anything which is important at the time. Not necessarily all of them are film ideas, but it gives me a certain insight into people, incidents, and various point of views on the same subject matter and all that.
Would you like if Donald Trump wins the elections?
I would love it.
Okay.
I've never followed a presidential election like I'm doing now because I feel there's something so basic about him. It is very exciting and I really want that guy to win.
And I'm sure you'll find
even if the world goes into problems also I'm okay with that because
you'll find a lot of material to tweet about all the time,
Yeah, that is one and I think it will be a very, very entertaining term if Donald Trump wins the presidential election.
And what other crazy ideas do you have? Okay, Donald Trump is one guy whom you would like to see succeed. Is there anybody else like that or any other organization?
Yeah, see, I'm really keen to know what will happen to the ISIS at the end. I know it will be vanquished, I have no doubts about that, but I'm just figuring out when they will be able to do it and how they will do it is probably that. And like a long time back, this person told me, Jaideep Sani, he said, it is our good luck that you are not a gangster and you became a filmmaker instead of becoming a gangster. Otherwise, you have been the most dangerous guy, considering the way you think. So I was telling someone jokingly the other day, if I was in ISIS, I would have made the world go mad with my tweets, I said. So, it's like saying, okay, today at 12 o'clock, San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. I'll put only that much. Now, the point it's coming from there is going to make people go crazy. They don't know whether to take it seriously or whatever. I said, as long as you're in that space, okay? And so when I make these comments, which sometimes people get offended on so-called mega family or I just said if Jesus loves all, does he love ISIS also? Right. See, if I was a Christian, I wouldn't really trust Jesus to protect me because seeing the size of his biceps, I said. Because I don't trust gods without muscles, because it just defeats the purpose. Neither does he have a gun, nor has muscles, so I have a problem. So I know it is like a satire, it is like a thing. I will say about everyone, including myself. Right. That's the reason I made a joke on myself in AAB. On art.
True.
Right. So I think not to take things seriously and also talk about serious issues in a very satirical way, which is why I think political cartoons work.
True.
Yeah.
But a lot of people take a lot of offense to whatever you say.
Yeah.
And Monoksari Vijayanagaramlo, they took out your Shav Yatra.
Yeah, correct.
So what was your reaction when you saw that?
See, the point is when one is I don't take myself seriously, so no amount of criticism makes a difference to me. And recently I did an episode in Ramuism where I talked about the fans with regard to Chiranjeevi. I said, see, Chiranjeevi is elephant, I am a dog, I am barking. Now what I am barking, why I am barking, what tone, what intention, so I am saying something. Now, I am one of the fans among lakhs. All the others are also barking. If the elephant turns back and says, don't bark, I will shut up. But I won't listen to the other dogs, I said. Now, the point is, see, obviously, Pawan Kalyan's fans' IQ level will be, I don't even know where it will be. But Pawan Kalyan, I said, he's a great man. He's a great man not because he understands politics. I don't know politics. I don't even care about what he cares for people. He attracts my attention when he's talking. Okay? And I like the, and Pawan Kalyan is like a lion. He should roar. He should not explain. So when he explains, imagine a lion suddenly starts talking about what the other deer and everything should do. And it is not a lion anymore. That's the whole point.
Right.
You know? So offense, like, somebody will feel something for whatever anybody says. Otherwise, from the time we get up in the morning, all of us will offend someone. The only way you can not do that is to shut your mouth and not speak at all.
Which you're not
but
going to do.
in a democracy or anything where you have a right of expressing your opinion, you have I have a right to say something, you have a right to feel offended, you have a right again to counter-offend me, but you can't do it because I don't take offense. Because I am a shameless guy, I am thick-skinned, I am like a buffalo where rain doesn't affect me. But so that's where I win, because I can offend them because they can be offended, but they can't offend me because I'm beyond offense. Like, I remember when there was this thing that I was going to be put inside jail for my tweets on Ganpati at a certain time. So I told some journalists at that time, I'll be very happy to go to jail because I didn't take holiday for a very long time, And I'm running out of scripts, like you all know. So I will get some good scripts in jail because I'm very much interested in meeting. I heard there are a couple of ISI guys in Murshidabad jail. So I'll be very looking forward to that. I said, now what do you say to that? So the whole victory of trying to send me to jail is gone wrong already. Dekha humne isko jail ko bhijaya. I'll be happy anywhere. I'll be happy with my death.
Okay.
So no one can do anything to me because of that.
Right. But you must have had at least one regret in life that you offended somebody.
No.
But you apologized to Dulquer for those comments on his dad, right?
Who?
Dulquer Salman.
I apologized to him.
Yeah, you said that I'm sorry that you.
I said that, but to that is likewise I apologized to Amitabh Bachchan for Aag, and I do that a lot of times, and I do apologize. I'm not saying no to that, but see. To regret for others, yes. Okay. But regret for myself, my own action, I don't.
Right. How restless are you on a scale of 1 to infinity as a person? Like,
I think infinity.
Infinity.
Yeah,
right? You cannot stay idle at one time.
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that also reflect in your work? No?
Well, it must be. I'm not sure. Because see over the years, when obviously you might not grow, but you change as a person. So you might have degrown or overgrown or whatever grown, Like when sometimes people tell me your frames are becoming repetitive, or something about my background score, something about something else. But the point is that is me. If I think I want to put music like this, but since Hemant is saying that he doesn't like it, shall I change it? It can't be done.
Yeah.
It comes sort of an organic thought process of what I feel like hearing and what I feel like seeing.
Oh, that feedback has reached you, is it?
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, right.
So the point is, at the end of the day, it's not possible for any person to do something which he is not, unless he's trying to blindly copy, which is a more dangerous thing. I don't like it, but since people seem to be liking it, let me do it that way, is more dangerous than just being yourself, even if you're called whatever you're called.
Right.
Yeah.
That's quite an interesting thought, because you're having a blast while working.
See, when I watched Shiva recently, it bored me to death.
Okay.
I couldn't go beyond 2 reels.
Why is that like that?
I'm coming to that. So, in one hand, that is actually very understandable. If a man who's making ice cream and all these kind of pictures, if he is saying he's bored with Shiva, which is an ample proof that he lost it. I lost it. I mean, you can't get better proof than that. Okay. And why Shiva bored me? Satya didn't bore me. Company didn't bore me. Rangila didn't bore me after much later. Because Shiva, it looked too structured and too designed. The characters were not looking realistic. The performances were looking fake, which is not the case with the other films. So performances are actually which stand the test of time. I don't think it's about content. That's what I realized when I saw it this time. Okay. So coming back to when you are changing, like for example, I'm getting deep set into the intelligence operation of Veerappan, where they're lying, conning X and Y, and then for me to see something like somebody breaking a cycle chain as if you climbed Mount Everest, it looks very stupid and juvenile. That's because of my exposure. At the time I made Shiva, I only knew street gundas. Now I know the top criminals of the world. So obviously my whole thought process is on that level now. Yeah.
Now you've said that you're really restless as a person. You also changed a lot, over the years. And what I find really fascinating is every single actor who's ever worked with you has amazing things to say about that whole process. They really love working with you, and you seem to be having a lot of fun because you're trying to convey your point of view. But you've never cared about how the film will do eventually when it releases in theatre. So, has there been any film which you desperately wanted it to work so that never?
See, to start with, when this also I answered many times. First of all, I don't agree with this aspect that director can know if a film will work or not.
Yeah, that's there.
See, the point, if you're putting in an effort, if I'm telling you a joke, my intention is to make you laugh.
Right.
Otherwise, why will I tell you a joke?
Right.
Same thing goes when I'm making a film, my intention is for you to like it or anyone who watches to like it.
Right.
Okay? Otherwise, I might make the film in my head. Why should I make it on film?
Right.
Okay? Now the question is why I will choose a certain subject or a certain thing to make as a film. The factors which influence me at that time are two things. Either I'm excited for some reason about this subject, or I can make something which already worked. 99% people follow success for that reason. The fact that nobody already, if that kind of film worked, people want to watch that kind of film.
Right.
So instead of saying I'm copying that, they'll say that people want that. Their ego comes in between to say I am copying that.
Right.
So for example, Hum Aapke Kaun is a big hit at that time. So people want to make family films. People like family films. No, people like Hum Aapke Kaun. There is a difference.
Right.
But because if that created such a huge success, even half of it I'm okay, 25% I'm okay, still it will be a big hit. Right. So people either can copy success or they can do what excites them on individual level. I belong to the second category.
Okay.
So Shiva also excited me, Ice Cream also excited me. Right. At the time period, maybe not at another stage.
Right. Now, your films have not worked at box office, and I'm sure your producers have run into losses, but you still manage to make at least 4 or 5 films a year. What is the secret? What do you do?
This also I told many times. First of all, my producers running into losses is a misconception because at the cost I make the film in, point one.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So eventually it's a business. When people make losses, no one can make films.
True.
Because I don't care to explain that part of it, what film is being made at what cost and what people just don't realize it. Okay. Second part is, on a extension level, eventually films, any film for that matter, or any business for that matter, losses happen all the time.
Yeah.
But whenever you can work, you want to work, no one can stop you. It will get made.
Right.
Okay.
But you never hold yourself responsible, is it?
It's not about being holding responsible. We did everything what we have to do and it didn't work, and the only thing you can do is to do it again.
Okay.
Yeah. And people who say because I made a flop I can't make another film, it's all bullshit because they don't have the will to make it. Like the Ayn Rand's line, it's not a question of who will allow me, it's a question of who will stop me. So if you have the will to do what you want, nobody can stop you.
Okay.
Yeah. You must yourself have seen they're writing me off for the last 10 years. Right. 10 years at least, if not more, I can't remember. Right. But did you ever hear that RG wants to make this film but he is not able to make it? Did you ever hear something like that? That's the point.
Right. So what, I mean, people must have immense faith on you,
I want to make Ice Cream which costed 5 lakhs and that's called a flop, and then I make a 10 crore Veerappan after that. So what is it then?
So what people that just have faith in your vision, like they just want to work with you. I think
See, people do see. Actually, the people who criticize, they are the guys who cannot make a 1,000 rupee film in their lifetime. Anybody who's in the business won't be surprised. People who will never be able to get into the business will be surprised because they don't understand how it works.
Right.
Yeah, I get messages from some writers. I have a great story. You're lacking in it, and this and that. So I replied, it's a great story. Keep it for yourself. When you make it, why should you give it to me? you know. And so people see the effect. I know the cause.
Yeah.
That is the difference,
Right.
You can walk out of my film and say, Ramu's lost his mind, what a stupid thing, But why it is coming like a stupid thing, I know the cause. If I know the cause, I can always repair it. The people who are concentrating on the effect will never be able to know the cause.
Right.
Yeah.
I think every producer in the business has this on his wish list. Before he gets out of the film industry, he has to make at least one film with you. And whether that film works or not, that's a different thing. But
But
they
it doesn't work like that. See, that's all people think like that about actors, about producers. Any producer, any actor, if he does not believe that particular film is going to work, they will never make it, whether it's me or anybody else.
Okay.
It doesn't happen like that. They might say it in interviews, they might say it on some stage,
right.
But the real application of it, unless they believe in it, they will never make it.
As a honest opinion, sir, about your work and about you as a person, I think your greatest film will be one where you're just talking directly to the camera and talking your mind out. Something like Jafar.
I personally think it's a very valid observation. I won't call it a greatest film, but I would say my most truest film because it will not have any loss in translation.
True.
Absolutely, it will only talk about like right now what will happen, which is the reason I gave for writing my book. Because in a film, you're creating situations, you're creating characters which are not like you. And you have a purpose to achieve, to go to the finale of the story, which might not be the way I would do. So there will be limitation in my thought being presented exactly the way I perceive.
Right.
So the day I can write a screenplay or I can write a character based on me will be my truest film, I will say. Whether that will work or not or whether somebody will call it great or not, I'm not sure about that.
But you will consider that idea of doing it at some point of time?
I actually am working on something like that.
Just a monologue, you just
not exactly a monologue, but I want to design it where there will be very little loss in translation.
Okay.
Probably it will amount to the characters being designed very closest to me.
Okay.
The structure of the story, it will be very philosophical in nature. See, for a long time I wanted to do Ayn Rand's Fountainhead. I didn't do it because I was finding it difficult to see Rourke. In my mind, how will he look as a person? What he will wear will be a problem. How he will eat is a problem. How he will talk is a problem.
Right.
So unless I can crack that, there's no point in making a film like that. And also, Rourke doesn't have a conflict in him. And to make a film without a conflict at all in drama is going to be difficult,
Right.
So if at all I ever achieve that, I think I'll be able to do it in a film nearest to Fountainhead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that one of your dream projects?
Yes.
Okay.
That is.
Right. Now, talking about your book, Guns and Thighs, and I don't know how many people have read it yet, but what compelled you to write that book? Because you've been in the limelight for almost 25 years now, and a lot of interviews, your own show, and a lot of blogs. So what else was there to really express that in a book format?
See, it has quite a few materials from a blog, but it just wanted to make more comprehensive.
Okay.
And the reason I wrote it is more or less this, like Lost in Translation, where I thought I will speaking as one-to-one about my journey, my thoughts and blah blah, and then the reasons behind my failures, behind my hits, and so anybody interested in that journey will have a comprehensive understanding of me, much more than reading some random interview here or seeing me random speak there or a quote or a tweet.
Right.
This probably will give a 360 review of if I'm worse than what they thought or if I'm not as bad as what they thought.
Right.
Like at the press thing in Delhi when the book was launched, there was a certain interaction with the media and a lot of literature at a literary festival. there this moderator asked me this question, but some of the chapters almost give a feeling you're a sexist.
Okay.
So what do you say about that? I said, I am a sexist. So what do you mean? Yes, I like sex and I like women, and if that is the definition of sexist, I am a sexist, I said. Now, there was a stunned silence for about 30 seconds, and then there was a burst of applause.
Okay.
So I think people are not used to hear truth, or somebody can just say it. So they get shocked. So I don't think the clap or the applause, that is just reaction of shock, I think, actually. No?
Now, you also credited porn star Tory Black,
yeah.
in the book. So, how did that fascination begin? Like, when did she come into your life?
For me, I'll tell you, I'm a very honest person.
Yeah.
And that's not because I think honesty is a virtue. By not being truthful about what you feel, I feel you're devaluing and degrading and disrespecting the very things you believe and which contribute to your life.
Okay.
Okay? So, because of that, for me, when I'm mentioning Amitabh Bachchan or X and Urmila's part in my life, or like I said earlier, gangsters, they were not there, I wouldn't have had a career.
Okay.
So I have to rightfully acknowledge whatever had impacted me and given me pleasure, and porn gave me pleasure.
Okay.
And in that, the height of that, the face of that for me right now is Tory Black. Okay?
Okay.
So all these people in some way or the other have contributed and made my life richer and making my life worth living. So when I die, I look back and see who all have contributed. Tory Black is definitely on the list. Yeah, that's why I acknowledged her.
What's with porn? Like, do you find poetry in it? Yeah.
You see, I'll tell you this way, I would like to think of it as, when the porn ban happened, I was the first guy to talk against it, against the ban openly in the entire country. Only after that people started reacting slowly, okay? For me, it's like almost like I think power and sex are the two primary factors which actually drive the whole world in terms of anything. And power because it gives your ability to what you want to do, and porn is just a fantasy part of sex. Like what action films are to power, porn films are to sex. That's how I look at it.
Right.
And porn, I feel, is better than real sex in a way because it cuts the before and after problems. It just cuts to the chase. You can go in and go away, which you can't do in a real life aspect. I know that sounds very blunt. Okay. But that is the whole point. Instead of going and indulging in real life violence, you might as well go and watch an action film and come back satisfied. That's what cinema does actually, To that extent, porn for me is fulfilling that aspect of the fantasy. Okay. So it becomes almost like in a harmless drug, because if you're having alcohol or anything, it can create a side effect. Porn is the only addiction which can't create any side effects, and that's where all the restrictions come. So, like they say, you can drink yourself to death, you can smoke yourself to death,
right.
Okay, you can work yourself to death, but you can't sex yourself to death because there's a built-in physical limitation of what you can and cannot do, and that's where the whole world goes, upsy-daisy in terms of that. So, I would think for me, when I did this episode on porn, even in things. So what I think I achieved with all my noise on the porn ban, it became a living room conversation now. Like I even heard my mom and sister using the word porn in the living room for the first time because it's on the TV. Everybody in the TV is talking about it. Talking about it, yeah.
Have you ever tried to get in touch with Tory Black? No, because there was this big rumor that...
No, see, that is because I keep saying about it, and see, whatever I say or don't say also, it comes in the media as if I'm doing that.
Okay.
Like, I just heard, I don't even know what that is. What's call money or something? Call money or some scandal happened recently.
Like
I got a message from the newspaper, I believe you're starting a film on call money. I don't even know what that is. I didn't follow that, So whatever I talk, see, when I talk about what is it which separates a porn star from a normal person, I was talking in the sense that a porn star for me is bigger than a normal actor, because a normal actor can fake love. A porn star cannot fake desire because of physical reaction. So I find that much more appreciated, and so the moment I try to break it up into these terms, they will think that I'm planning a
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, Tory Black, have you ever tried to get in touch with her just as a pure fan?
No, not really. But I follow her on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, does she know
No,
that you exist?
no,
No, nothing at all. Right. So, let's suppose, hypothetically, you end up meeting her one fine day. What would that cause?
I will die. I will die. I think I will.
The biggest fan moment, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, and yeah.
Right. Now, you tweeted recently that you're moving back to Bombay.
Yes.
So, what compelled you to take this decision?
See, it is not that I think so much. At the point of time when I was wanting to do a Telugu film, at that time I came here, and one thing led to the other, and I just started staying here and did it. And now I'm doing Sarkar 3 and I'm doing one more film, and both these pictures are going to happen there. So I'm shifting my base back to Bombay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. There's no other reason for
There's
that.
no other reason. Right. Because all reasons are speculated by the people. You know, they will infer some reason because Ramu is not having film is here. Now, because he doesn't have film here, is going back. Nothing can happen like that. you know. Yeah.
Right. So now you stay in Hyderabad at least for the past 3-4 years. Where you
about 1 year, 8 months. Yeah, I only came, 1 year, 8 months.
You started with Kathasri?
No, I did that, but I was still operating from there.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So let's start from there. From there till now, until killing Veerappan,
Yeah.
this year. You've tried to bring in a lot of changes in the industry, whether it's the digital filmmaking with 5D and all. And then you talked about smaller film industry, bases shifting here and there, and even that auctioning of distribution and all. Very fascinating ideas, but you didn't really see them that they materialize to the extent that you would have imagined. So,
but but that's because the films didn't work. If the films work, because people follow success, they don't follow an idea. Like when a study cam was first introduced in The Shining, and it was noticed, the work, but Shining failed at the box office, so no one really cared.
Okay.
Some years later, Sylvester Stallone used it in Rocky, and that's the first time it caught up because Rocky worked.
Okay.
So Shiva worked because of that the Steadicam worked here. So if Shiva failed, nobody would have noticed the camera.
Right.
So people tend to follow what's already been endorsed because they won't have the vision to see. Like for example, something like the Anushanam distribution idea would have worked like magic with Bahubali, in my opinion.
Okay.
Because Bahubali is something everyone wants to buy. Everyone wants to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the sky can be the limit to valuation in that kind of a scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that you've spoken about Bahubali, you're constantly tweeting about Rajamouli,
Yeah.
and he literally begs you a lot of times to not praise him.
I think he enjoys it a lot. Yeah, he just
think
says
so?
it for you. Of course. I'm only complimenting. So I use Rajamouli for two reasons. One is I really, really admire that guy and I compliment.
Okay.
And I'm using his shoulder to fire upon a lot of people. Where he keeps on looking back and says, don't use my shoulder. But actually the truth is, his shoulder is the only reason I could fire.
Right.
See, when I said that Chiranjeevi should not do some remake and he should go above Rajamouli. If Rajamouli was not a benchmark, I wouldn't know what to tweet on Chiranjeevi's film, for example.
Right.
So I use him as a shoulder actually.
Are you fond of him as a person?
I'm very fond of him. Okay. I'm very fond of him because I feel his passion and his willingness to push the boundaries, and to keep on overstretching himself, I find it extremely, worthy of looking up to him.
You look
I
up
might
to
not.
him.
I look up to him a lot. I might not think much of his films.
Okay.
But that's a different matter. But as an individual, the fact is just overstretching. He's just kind of going on, thinking beyond what is already done on a consistent manner and for such a long time. I find it is tremendous.
Right. So, what do you see yourself in him at
No,
some
no,
level?
no, no. I don't have that kind of a patience, and I live for the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not going to suffer 1 year of hard work just to get that moment of glory for about 5 days.
Right.
I'd rather have a ball for this 1 year and suffer the 5 days failure.
Now, I'm sure you two are meeting every now and then, right? So,
Yeah.
what do you talk about? What are the discussions?
We talk only films actually.
Yeah, but what about film? Like, do you discuss something in particular, or?
Yeah, about the future films, what he's making, about what I am thinking, and he also actually he wonders because he thinks I'm a very intelligent guy, and he just doesn't understand why I don't put my brains to use.
Okay.
I
So what's
just
your reply
waste
to
it.
that?
I mean, same thing. But he doesn't listen. Nobody listens to replies. They only ask questions. That's the whole point of life.
Yeah, right. Now, there was something else I wanted to ask you. Few weeks back, I read in a newspaper that you had a chat with all the young actors in the industry,
Yeah.
and where you said that it was like a one-on-one session, or was it like a talk?
No, this was just like
A dinner table
something,
conversation.
not dinner table. Yeah, they just basically formed a group and where they want to call one guest in every, I don't know the frequency.
Right.
And they called me and I said what I wanted to say.
Was that true that you said that just take away slow motion shots
Yeah, I
from,
said that.
from films? And
I said if you don't have the slow motion and ramping technology, half the heroes will be out of work. Because that's the only thing they do. They keep coming in high speed.
Okay.
And then when there's a high level dialogue, it's over.
You strongly believe in that?
Yeah, 100%. Especially Telugu cinema. All the mainstream commercial cinema, I think it's only about high speed.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the alternative? Because
See, alternative, that's what, see, this, on one hand you're saying we want to stretch, you want to go beyond and all that. But nobody is working beyond mera introduction scene kya hai.
Yeah.
They stop there, So the hero will want to his one-line dialogues and his introduction high speed, one song in Netherlands, one song somewhere else. I said, then why do you want to have a kind of a pretension about making good cinema, let me make great characters? I don't think there's intention, first of all.
Right.
The intention is there also, it might not come. If you don't even have an intention, where will it come from?
Right.
So I said, imagine, you'll think it is a very small thing, what a high speed can or cannot do. Shiva is called a benchmark in heroism and a character strength, okay? If I introduced Shiva, Nagarjuna in the beginning in a high speed shot, dang, if he gets on a bike or something, it's not the same film anymore.
Yeah.
Because the content of the film and the detailing of the characterization made it memorable.
Right.
Whereas if you're coming in high speed, not realizing everybody from Mahesh Babu to Sandeep Krishna, they come in high speed. And so because of that, you're just losing the plot in terms of working on a characterization. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Now, talking about films, have you finally seen Bahubali? Because
Yeah,
back then
I've
you
seen
didn't
it.
see, right?
I didn't see it at the time I
But it is.
did that interview with,
Okay.
with Ramuism, but I saw it.
So what do you think of it?
I find the visual splendor extraordinary.
Okay.
I didn't care much for the character relationship. I felt there should have been more interaction between Rana and the sibling rivalry could have been developed more. Yeah, whatever. But that is me, But I think overall experience, and I was blown away with the first song, that Dheera, the romantic duet, the flying.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the last time I just saw something on screen with my mouth open.
Really?
Yeah, I had that much of an impact. Yeah.
Right. Where he's climbing the waterfall and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Now, you spoke about heroes and high motion shots. So, whom you really admire in the current lot for the kind of work they're doing? Do you have any
in
favorite
actors,
heroes?
I find Mahesh has an extraordinary screen presence.
Okay.
And because he's one guy I saw without any supporting cast, he can imagine himself in his head and perform, which I think is an incredible quality. And other than Mahesh, I don't know if I like anybody as an actor.
But I'm sure there are people who have great potential, but they don't really put that in you.
No, I really didn't see that. I find Mahesh head and above, much taller than every other actor here.
Okay, right.
Because he's got that dignity, he's got the looks, he's got that larger than life charisma. And I hardly saw any Pawan Kalyan's films actually.
Seriously?
Yeah, I
What are you
only saw Puli, I think.
What?
Yeah.
You haven't seen anything after
No.
that? Okay. Right. So, your idea of him is completely based on his
Based on his
off-screen
real
life.
life.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think of him as an actor at all.
Right. Now, you yourself have said that you're a big fan of Chiranjeevi. So,
Yeah.
Any favorite films that, or do you follow each
I
film?
mean, see, because Chiranjeevi, I'm a fan because I used to watch a lot of his films before he became a director.
Yeah.
Standing in line. So obviously that image of that image of mine of his will persist for a long time. Yeah.
So you haven't really followed his career after?
Not really.
Not really, right. So, okay, now it's again a hypothetical question, right? Now you talk about mega fans a lot of times. So let's suppose you actually meet a mega fan who's ready to discuss a lot of things with you. So what would your advice be to him?
I don't think mega fans can discuss anything. First of all, to start with, except for shouting, I doubt they can do anything. What will they discuss?
No, I mean, you would think of driving some sense into having a proper conversation, right? So, what would
They
you say?
cannot converse, they only shout. That's what I'm saying. So, if you look at all the audio functions, they have the chant called power star, power star, power star. I don't think they're capable of talking. In fact, we should send spy cameras to see if they can talk, except for that one word, I feel. Why are you laughing? I'm just. You are making fun of them, huh? Hemant, not me.
No.
Yes! Now, if you have the guts, I want you to not edit this and put this, huh?
You got me to lot of trouble for this.
And I'm going to tell you guys also, don't cut this. There are two witnesses here, your camera people, so you can't say, yeah.
Right. Now, you've spoken about Mahesh Babu, obviously, among the actors. Anybody from the actresses' current lot?
Not really. I say, first of all, I've watched very few films.
But you did.
And
okay,
yeah,
I'll come back to that question
I
later.
watched her films, and I think in the actresses, I like Rakul Preet.
Okay.
She's a person who stands out for me.
In terms of an actor?
As looks, I didn't really see her on screen actually.
Right.
The only film I think I saw of her is Kick 2.
Okay. What do you think of it? Was she good in the film at least?
Kick 2, nothing was good in that film. Yeah.
Okay. Your admiration for women, to put it very subtly, it's pretty well documented, and you yourself have spoken about it.
Yeah.
So, who's your somebody whom you fantasize about?
Now see, I've moved on from women to women. So I
Okay.
don't, because I think it's, I've become more, I don't know the term exactly, but there's so many women, I want to look at all of them. So my focus shifted from a singular person, let me put it that way.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I zoomed out.
Okay. What
As
has
a
caused
metaphor.
that change?
I think wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
So more than zooming in, zoom out works for me. I think you got it now.
Right. Now, you've always spoken about this one woman who used to work near your college.
Yes, rifle.
Rifle, right.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the one, this woman is the one who used to come in that car, right? Premier Padmini, blue
Satya.
color. Satya.
Yeah.
I've found out that you've actually gotten in touch with her and you're in talks.
Who told you this? I want to know the source of this information.
I can't reveal that, but I know
Okay.
it's come from
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So what happened?
She's been in the US for the last, I don't know, whatever years, some 20 odd years. And I got on a Twitter, some American woman sent a message to me that I'm a friend of your friend Satya.
Okay.
Her name is Mary Ann, So I was shocked to see the Mary Ann. And
Satya's original name is Mary?
No.
Oh, this
Mary
American-
Ann is an American friend of Satya who works
okay.
with her.
Okay.
So she must have told her that I know Ramu.
Oh, okay.
So she found me on the Twitter and she sent a message to me saying that I'm a friend of your friend Satya in Vijayawada. So I got a shock of my life. That's when I kind of confirmed and took the number from her, and then I called her. Yeah.
Okay. So what happened? Like, it was a very emotional moment for you?
No. I
Or
don't have. I'm a cold-blooded snake, so I don't have emotions.
But you found some closure to one story of your life, right?
Yeah, it's just like reaching back into memory. Yeah.
Right. Now, I've also heard something really fascinating which I have to ask you. A lot of people have told me that you're not fond of food. In the sense that whatever people serve you, you'll just eat without even tasting it.
Yeah.
And there was this whole stretch where you didn't know what you were eating for lunch.
Yeah.
Does it happen all the time, or is it?
Because I find the food topic very irritating. I only think of it as something to satisfy irritant called hunger. In fact, many times, the moment I eat 2-3 pieces, if my initial hunger goes off, I leave the rest of the food.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just that for that moment, whatever.
Yeah, it is just the irritation of hunger. I want to take it out.
You don't believe in food porn?
Like Mr. Mohan Babu has this habit of constantly feeding you. You will give this omelette, this, and he will describe that, and then you will get some other sweet, then you will get some other biryani. And every 20 minutes, 5 minutes, he keeps on offering. So one day I told him, Sir, గేదెలు మేకలు ఎప్పుడు తింటాయండి సింహం ఒకేసారి తింటున్నది. And he got a shock away. I said, I am all the time standing and working. You're all the time sitting. I never complain of tiredness or ill health. You all the time do that. So all this is happening because you eat like a buffalo. Constant eating. And you should not eat for taste. That's the worst addiction, much more than alcohol and anything, because a lion will eat when it's hungry, a deer. It will not say, is it tasty? How did you cook it? Let's put some mirchi and all that. But why is the lion much more healthier than both of us? Because it eats for the sake of eating, eats for the sake of living, and not for it doesn't live for the sake of eating.
Right.
The age-old thing, the way it goes.
Right.
You know. So I find the whole, like, you know, when I go with a girl on a date, I just tell she wants to eat, you know, either you choose between the food and me, because I dislike to see a woman eating.
What do you say? How do you expect them to be healthier?
I don't know that. They can do that in their private. I mean, but I
not with
say,
you.
Not with me. Yeah.
Okay. So what? Going to a restaurant is a big no-no, is it?
Yeah. No, if you go to the restaurant, I don't want to see her eat, because I just dislike that whole thing of the thing going into the mouth and chewing. It just shatters my illusion.
But a lot of people would equate having great food with sex, orgasm and all.
I think their idea of sex is very different from mine.
Okay. So what? Your way of dating women is very straightforward. Will you have sex with me or not? Or is there a foreplay before that?
I might not say it as bluntly as that, but maybe it amounts to that. Maybe not exactly. I would put it differently.
You've never used a pick-up line on anybody?
No.
Never?
No.
Okay. So it's up to them whether to say yes or no?
Yeah, because I believe in the freedom of choices. It's up to me to say what I want, and it's up to her to say what she wants. And it is a call being taken by both parties in the free will.
Right. And
democracy.
And you don't care about what people think of you?
I don't care about anybody. Okay. I don't care about what I think of them also.
I'm sure there have been at least one moment in your life where you actually cried. Has there been anything like that? Never?
Never.
Never ever?
Never ever.
Not even when your daughter got married?
No, my daughter got married. Why would I cry at that time?
No, it was a big emotional moment for you.
Why? Because of the age-old things like she's going away.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure Rajmouli Garu tweeted about it that he's never seen you cry, but...
He didn't tweet that. He just said, I'm finding it very funny to see RGV in a space like this. That's what he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you never cried?
No.
There's never been a single emotional moment for you in your life?
But my emotions are different. I don't cry and all that.
So what do you do in that sense?
See, for me, emotions are something I control. I don't let emotions control me. So even if I cry or I do anything, it will be for a purpose of making someone else believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I manipulate emotions to get something out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I'll just have one final question. You've been making films for a lot of time, and I'm sure you'll keep on going like this. So, since you say that you're a man of the moment and you want to live at that point of time, have you ever thought of what is this kind of legacy that you want to leave behind? Because whether you like it or not, people do look up to you with the kind of work you've done.
See, I'll tell you, I don't care if the whole world comes to an end 1 second after I die.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's no question of legacy then. I don't want to be remembered.
Seriously.
I don't care about being remembered. I just want to live my life the way I want every second of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've never cared whether people liked you or not?
No.
You don't want to be liked?
I don't care about it now. What do I care about after my death?
Right.
Yeah.
So what would be written on your epitaph? Is there anything that you thought of?
I think the most correct way to describe my epitaph is he was far worse than what people thought.
That would be an appropriate...
Yeah. Because they only know 10% of the bad things in me. 90% which I hide, that can be put on the epitaph because it doesn't matter.
So what's the worst thing that you have done in your life, sir, to somebody close to you?
Worst thing what I have done? I think I made my wife believe I was a good guy. Yeah, that's I think because, yeah.
Has she forgiven you for that? It's been quite some time, right?
I don't know, you should ask her.
Okay, I've never had this discussion with her.
Yeah, I think it's about forgiving. I don't know if it's the right word, but I think you all have to pay for the mistakes. Like the audience have to pay a mistake for my mistake of paying some 200 rupees and 100 rupees and 2 hours of my bad film. Or somebody else might, Amitabh Bachchan have to pay me for, trusting me to do ARG. And my wife has to pay for the mistake of marrying him. Everyone has to pay a price for a mistake they committed. Yeah.
Right.
I'm the only guy because I don't let anyone affect me. So I don't pay for any mistake. I only make people pay for their mistakes. This wisdom is dawned upon me just now. Thank you very much for this interview. So I can harp on this now, from now on.
Yeah, please tweet about it. I'm sure like a lot of people will get that. Yeah. Now, on a parting note, recently you tweeted that you're going to miss 4 people, right?
Yeah.
Puri.
Jagan, KCR and...
tweets on Mega fans. And there was somebody else.
Something else, I forgot.
Right.
Yeah.
So Puri, do you see that he's somewhere very similar to you? The
No,
thought
not
process?
at all. Not at all.
Nothing
Absolutely.
at all?
No. We might be very close, but I don't think there's a similarity at all between me and him.
Okay. Would you consider him as your friend? No. Do you think he's...
See, I technically don't have friends because a friend for me I define as someone you kind of depend upon, for you want a shoulder, or a friend in need, things like that.
Right.
I would say I'm very fond of him. I don't consider that friendship, no.
So,
Like I'm fond of bunnies, for example. Bunnies means like rabbits, rabbit kids. So it's like that. So fondly, bunny, like, the cute rabbit,
No, but I mean, by how,
the comparison. You mean to...
No, not the comparison with Puri, but
Yeah.
how did that fascination or fondness for bunnies begin?
Means I just like the sight of it. I like the sight of a bunny.
Thank God, there's at least something that you were fond of in that
I like Jagan for the lifestyle he has. I just love that a boy from Narsipatnam dreams big. He's got a terrific office and he lives his life king size. I like that. I like the attitude.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, sir. All right, sir. Thank you so much. It was a great pleasure talking to you, as always. I hope, at least for everybody's sake who has always looked up to you, killing Veerappan works really well.
Yeah, hopes don't make anything work. First of all, that's also like this one of those good morning kind of things. I wish, I hope and all that. I find it...
Hope is horrible, is it?
Of course. Because it doesn't... I hope very good. Who the fuck wants your hope, man? No wishes. I wish from my heart they'd say something else. Stupid thing. Once I told Mohan Babu, I said, you keep on saying Baba's blessing, Shirdi Baba blessed, Shirdi Baba did, Balaji, this, that, and you've been praying to him for 40 years. Then how come you have not Rajnikant? How come your sons have not become Pawan Kalyan or Charan? Is it because they pray to some other god? Or is it because they pray to the same god in some other way? Did you ever think about it? I think you should send spies to see how they pray. Or you have to admit that for some reason you are committed a lot of sins, which is the reason why God is not blessing you. So without asking these questions to yourself and seeking an answer, if you blindly keep on praying to the same God in spite of Him not doing anything, there's fundamentally something wrong.
So what did he say for that?
Bale chiptavaya Varma. Some stupid thing like that he said, Because people don't want to listen to logic. That's what they just want to be in their comfort zone of whatever they believe. Because if he suddenly changes his mind about praying to that guy, that Shirdi guy, then he wouldn't know what to do. That is the reason they cling on. That is where the hope comes from. Maybe this time, maybe this time, maybe this time. And that this time doesn't come. So
if not hope, what do we bank upon then?
I go the opposite way. I'll kick the God. Then maybe I'll say, then okay, I'm giving you one last chance. If you don't make my film a hit, I'm convert to Islam, I'll say.
Okay.
Then I'll try Islam in a couple of films, then I'll go to Christianity. So at least that's common sense for me.
Right.
If you stick to the same God and is not giving anything, why should you change? That's simple, common sense.
I was actually gonna begin this whole interview with this quote saying, that if there's one person on this earth whom you should never argue, it's with RGV, because you cannot win it. Because he has the most prolific and profound answers to everything you say. So all you can do is try to even just understand him and just follow whatever he says. I think I've done that, hopefully, again.
Well, I really enjoyed this interview, incidentally. Yeah. But I didn't forget that laughter you did on that aspect, so you have to keep that in.
I'm going to keep that.
I'm going to once that comes, I was very offended with the way he laughed. Because I was speaking of them with respect and he's made a joke out of them, I'll say.
This is going to come.
I know, this is a covering insurance policy.
Right, sir. Yeah.